Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about how I set up the sling on this Scar 17S. Okay, some of the challenges that I ran into and how I overcame them. So as you can see here, I ran a loop around the back of the stock, and I put a H&K hook over here. Now if you notice, I wrapped the H&K hook with duct tape. Two reasons for that. Number one, less noisy, okay? And also number two, so I don't scratch up the rifle, right? So what I initially tried doing is putting H&K hooks in front of the receiver and the back of the receiver, because if you look on the Scar here, they've got mounting points here for H&K hooks. Okay, it seems like that's what FN really wants you to do, right? Because they have it on both sides. The problem that I ran into when I put the H&K hooks in front and back of the receiver is that the rifle was very unstable, right? Because as I was moving around, especially if it was slung on my back, it was just doing a lot of that. Okay, so what I ended up doing by putting it back here, it stabilized it significantly. Okay, so let me show you guys how I set up my AR-15s. Because what I was trying to do here is, like, I was trying to, I've been working with AR-15s for a long time. I'm really settled with them, and I was trying to bring over all the things that I do with my AR-15s over to the Scar. Okay, so let's get this off for a second. Okay, so with my AR-15s, I usually have an M-lock here, 11 inches down the rail, and then on the back of the stock here. Now this Magpul stock did not come with a QD mounting point back here, but what I did is I got from Amazon, I got a cheap QD socket, drilled through it, and then just put it in. Okay, so this is a fairly cheap stock, so I don't mind drilling through them. I really wouldn't feel too comfortable drilling into the stock of like a $3,000 to $4,000 gun. Okay, so that's, and I'm probably not the only one. Okay, but I really wish FN would put QD sockets on their Scars. Okay, so let's put this on over here. So when I typically with my ARs, first thing you want to do is you want to be able to come up on target easy. The rifle sits in the position where the stock basically just rolls up into position, right? So I don't have to lift it, I don't have to move it. It's already there. So even if I were to come up with one hand, it's already there, right? All right, so that's the ideal setup over here. You come up over here. Now, if I want to do a mag change, what I will usually do is I'll let this out more. Right now, I can reach here, do a mag change, and I'm also able to let it out a little bit further out, and I'm able to do a left side transition without swimming my arm out of the sling. Okay. The other thing I want to do is I want to be able to throw this on my back, okay, and go jogging with it. So with this type of a sling here, I can tighten this down, and I can bring this all the way down and get this as tight as I want. Okay. And now if I'm moving around, I'm wiggling here, I'm jumping. Okay, this is not going to flop around. This is really tight. So that's the reason why I could not go in front and behind the receiver, because when I threw it on my back, it was just, no matter how tight I got it, I just couldn't get it tight enough. It was just too much. And here I can even make this tighter. I can get this sling to go all the way back here. Okay. Now from here to retrieve it, I just put my thumb here, pull this up, come back over here, and boom, I'm on target. Okay. So this is the way I've been setting up my AR-15s for years. Okay. So this is what I would like to do with the Scar. Just get you off. Okay, so I want to show you that as a base. Like, that is where I'm trying to get to. So a couple of issues I ran into. Number one, the Scar is not set up with a QD in the stock back here, and this is really thick over here. So if I were to try and drill through it in order to attach a QD socket, I don't know what I'm going to hit on the way in there. Maybe I hit something really important that, I don't know, doesn't make the stock work the way it's supposed to work. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty expensive setup. So with that one, if I mess up this stock, I just take it, throw in the garbage. It only cost me whatever, $25, $35. This is a lot more expensive. Okay, so that kind of forced me to go with this setup over here where I looped it around. Now the problem with this, basically there's two problems. First of all, it takes a little time to loop it through there like that. So once this goes on here, it's pretty much on there for the day. Okay, this is not something I'm going to be taking on and off really fast like I would with a QD socket. Okay, that's not going to happen. The other issue that I ran into with this is, especially if I'm trying to do a left side transition, this is not sitting really good over here. So this gets caught up, doesn't quite work as well as the other one. Okay. So the other one was just working better because instead of it being on the top, it's on the side, okay? So it doesn't get caught up on this corner. The other thing I found with the boot here is that this boot is longer, okay? So what's happening when I'm doing a left side transition, the toe basically is catching stuff, and this rubber here is like really soft and really grippy, and you know, unless you pull it forward, you're gonna be catching stuff. Okay, so those are just things that I had to overcome. Okay, from what I'm used to doing. Okay, I'm not saying that it's wrong or it's no good or it can't be overcome, but these are just things I had to overcome. On the front over here, okay, as far as a mounting point, so I got two choices. All right, first of all, Scar gives you key mod over here, or if you get one of the newer ones, they put Picatinny rail here. What I think they're doing, I don't know for sure, but it seems to me that they're putting the Picatinny over the key mod that's already there, because they probably already have produced whatever thousands and thousands of rails with key mod, and the military has moved over to M-LOK. So the military is getting the M-LOK rails, and then us poor suckers out here in the civilian world, we're getting whatever shit they want to get rid of. So they're giving us key mods, and then they're putting Picatinny rail over it so that we can't see that they're giving us key mods. Okay, so that's what I think is happening with the Scars, and why you guys are getting Picatinny rail over here. Okay, so I had two choices. I was either gonna get a key mod QD point over here, or I was gonna put the H&K hook through the loop over here. I ended up just going with the hook because, number one, I had a hook that was available. I didn't have to order a key mod that would basically fit into the sling. One of the issues that I'm running into with using the H&K hook is that it's right about where my hand wants to go. Right, it's kind of close. With my typical AR-15 setup, I go 11 inches in front of the receiver. This is, I think, a little bit closer than that. So I think 11, I measured it out, 11 inches is like right over here. Okay, that's where I would mount this if I put a key mount setup. So this is a little further back, probably at, I don't know, maybe 10 or 9 inches. So that's a little bit too close to my hand. Okay, so that's the other issue that I ran into. Now, with the H&K hook, first of all, two issues with that. Number one, it's very noisy, right? Because you got metal hitting metal. As you can see, I wrapped it with duct tape over there to number one, stop the noise, okay, and number two, to prevent it from scratching the rifle, right? The expensive rifle. So I wrapped it with duct tape. There are sleeves that you can get that will fit over this. The issue with the sleeves is if they move up, now you got the same issue, right? So the sleeves don't necessarily stay in place. The duct tape is probably going to stay in place a little bit better, okay? So, I mean, you can go either way. But I ended up putting the H&K hook here. Now, the problem with the duct tape over the hooks is I cannot, basically I'm covering the opening, so this cannot easily come off. I basically got to cut through that duct tape. And you know what? It didn't bother me that much because I in order to get the back side off, I have to undo the sling up here. So since this side is not coming off easily, it doesn't bother me so much that that side is not coming off so easily, okay? So with this particular sling, this is the Magpul one. And I did try setting up that sling on this rifle with the same setup. I'm not exactly sure why, but it just the way it was set, it just wasn't working out as well. This is actually working a little bit better with this Magpul sling. A couple of things with the Magpul sling. Let me pull this up. Okay, the way the Magpul is set up, this goes forward, and then as far as coming back, that's as far back as you can go, right? Because it hits this, it loops around this plastic over here. So it's so that's as far back as it will go. So with this setup here, I had to balance having enough flexibility, right? Where if I let this all the way back, I can do a left side transition. There you go. See, the way this, because it's not on the side, because it's over the top, this keeps catching on this corner, okay? And it'll choke me, right? Let's do that again. So if this is like this, like that, right? Tighten it up, okay? So now I loosen this up. I want to do a left side transition. You see how it's catching on that rubber as I come across, right? So that's got to come over the top so I can get to the left side over here. Okay? It's probably the better way to do it with this specific setup is to just swim your arm out of it. Okay, and it's still caught on that corner over here. Okay, it's still catching that corner. So that's the reason why I don't like this shit so much. Okay, so that's an issue that I just keep running into repeatedly with the other setup over here, with the TV setup. Okay, so I'm here. Okay, so now that's on the outside of the stock. Okay, so it's controlled. If I want to come out, right, go to the left side. See how it doesn't catch, right? Right, tighten that up. So with this, I don't need to come out of the sling. Or, you know, take my arm out of the sling, right? I can go back and forth. Okay, tighten it up. With this, when I want to tighten this up, I just tighten it up like this and pull it as tight as I want, man. This will come all the way down to here. Okay, as tight as I want. Okay, this doesn't move around. Loosen this up. Get back on target. And like I said, I did try putting this sling on that rifle, and just something about the way it was looping over the top, the way, because it's a little, the attachment's a little further back here. I would move it. This is where ideally where I think I'd want to attach it. So I ended up going to this sling because as hard as to believe, it's working better with this one than what it was doing with the other one. So with this one, now this one goes in the opposite direction, okay? So to loosen this one up, you gotta pull back. All right, you go back, which is, you gotta reach back there, okay? See how I'm getting, it's getting caught on this rubber crap here. Because this thing is big over here, right? And this is very sticky. It's getting caught up over there. Doesn't want to do that. And this is also longer down here. So this is catching on my chest here. So to tighten this up, you gotta go the other way. Now, to throw this over my back, if this is all the way up now, right? Okay, throw this over, I can't make this tighter. This is pretty loose on my back. Okay, so now if I'm running around, you see how this is all over the place? And I don't like that. Okay, whip it around, get on target. That part's working fine. It's just I can't get it tight enough when it's on my back. Now you might say, hey, why don't I just tighten it up from here, right? Because I can tighten it from here. All right, let's do that. Let's make this tighter, because that seems to be the only way this is going to work. Okay, so now I made it shorter. Let's see, is it at a point? Nope, still too loose. Hold on, let me see if I... Yeah, see, I don't like the direction in which this thing tightens. I like tightening the other way. So there, that seems pretty tight. It's not as tight as I could get the other sling. It's still, I want to get it tighter, but let's see. So let's see if we run into any other problems. So right now, I want it tighter. There's a lot of play. The problem that I have here with the sling loosening in the direction that it loosens in is like, in order for me, I can't just whip this around because it's sticking. So I need to loosen this thing up before I whip this around. So I can't make this any tighter. Let me loosen this up. So if I loosen this thing up, yeah, I am too tight here. I'm too tight. I have to loosen it up because I can't get on the gun. So, like I said, I went through all this yesterday, and I tried putting that sling on this rifle, and I don't remember why, but it wasn't working. I was running into problems. So right here, that's good. Loosen this up. I can get on target. Throw this over my back. Okay, so I gotta make this tight. So right now, there's too much flop there, but at least I can whip this around and get on target. Okay, so that's what it's gonna have to be. Okay, so I'm gonna have to accept a little bit of flop with this. Okay, so anyway, there's some ideas for you guys to work with if you have a scar. You know, so basically on the back side, looped it through the stock. On this side, H&K hook through this loop over here. Try getting the sling. Try getting this style of a sling. Now this one's from Brash Tactical. You can't buy these anymore. These were great because these things are like 75 inches long. Okay, the closest thing I was able to find on Amazon was from a company called like Tactical Pro Sports. It's like $13. It's pretty close to this, but it's shorter. It's like 55 inches, but it works in the same way where you let it out that way, right? Goes all the way forward, and now I can get to the other side, and then to go over my back, I can get this as tight as I want. Okay, if I need it tighter, I can come all the way down here. Okay. All right, so this is the style of sling that you want, one that tightens in this direction. And then to loosen up, you put your thumb here because I can reach here, right? I can't reach all the way back here. I can reach here, pull this up, okay, and you get on target, okay? The other nice thing about this style of a sling is I can shorten this, right? You just pull it all the way down. This will come all the way back. So for storage, right? For storage, you see how much that can easily go into a safe now, okay? With this style of a sling here, okay, so let's see, if I make this as short as I can, look how much I got hanging there, right? Right? So again, that's why that style, and I'm not even talking about I don't care which company makes it, that style of a sling is the better one. Even though, like I said, I was having some difficulty getting it to work on the scar. They're pretty cheap. Maybe if I worked on it a little bit longer, I would have found exactly the right length to somehow make it work. But I ended up going to that one. So with this one over here, you got a lot more play. So it tightens when you pull it, okay? And then when you throw it over your back, it tightens this way, tightens that way, okay? So with this, I can be running around. That's not going to move anywhere, okay? You get on target, okay? So let me know what you guys think. Drop some comments. You got a different way of setting up your scar, let me know. You know, like I said, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to take what works on the AR-15 and bring it over to the scar, okay? And you know, I told you guys some of the difficulties I ran into and the best solutions that I could find, okay? If you got better solutions, please let me know. Talk to you all soon.